the jacket has ice on it.
Welcome back, everyone. So once we got done installing our wood floor, we had a bunch of short pieces left over, and we were trying to figure out something to do with them instead of just wasting them. And we decided that we were going to put up a little accent ceiling, if you would, over our stove. We have a little bit of an overhang there. So we decided to line that ceiling with our leftover hickory wood floor. I can't put it in the wrong way unless we cut the whole thing the wrong way. Okay, so we're nailing up our wood floor into a joist that's right above it. We're nailing all of the fronts, and then only a couple of the backs get nailed because it held pretty good with just the fronts being nailed. In addition to adding another dimension to our kitchen, this kind of helps cover up some of the mistakes in the drywall. As you saw in that last clip, we had to drill a second hole next to that 4-inch light to be able to actually plug the light in. And then as you'll see a little later on, there was a slight gap between the drywall and our range vent because of where the vent was when they put up the drywall. So this wood helps fill in those gaps, seal everything up so it looks nice. The next thing we're going to work on to get the kitchen finished is our open shelving. So we kind of went back and forth on what type of wood we were going to use for the shelves, and we decided on butcher block. Our island is going to be butcher block, so this will kind of tie things together. Also, we like the look of it. We started by ripping the piece of butcher block to the depth of the shelves, and then we went through and cut the lengths of the shelves. After that, we sanded the edges to make sure all of the edges were slightly rounded. Put some on the cloth first, and then we'll figure out how much you need, so you theoretically just wipe it on. It's not going to darken them at all? Well, it'll darken them a little. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, that looks great.
Okay, so I don't know how much we're going to end up using. So that's what they're going to look like. We gotta do all the sides. We then used this butcher block conditioner to seal the wood. We really like the look of the natural aspen butcher block that it is, and this conditioner just kind of keeps that look intact. What it is it's basically a mineral oil mixed with some sort of beeswax, and that helps seal the wood and keep it looking nice, and also protects it from water and scuffs and stuff like that. Now this is just a normal butcher block countertop that you can buy from any big box store. We got one that was 8 feet long and they come 25 inches deep because that's the standard countertop depth. And like I said before, we just ripped it down to the depth we needed and then cut it to the lengths we needed. If you're planning on doing this at home, you just have to make sure that you get a long enough countertop that you can get all of the lengths for your shelves that you need. We were originally going to go with a butcher block countertop, but we're actually going to go with concrete, so stay tuned for another video to show that. We set our bottom shelf at the standard height that an upper cabinet would be, which is about 2 feet off of the counter. Now, we were originally going to go with a floating shelf, and then we decided to go with these brackets, but have them flipped the other way, so that the L, instead of going down underneath the shelf, it went up above the shelf. And then those were kind of expensive and hard to find, so we ended up just picking these ones up. I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it takes away from anything. You're not really hiding anything by having them go up. Everyone knows it's still held on by a bracket, so that's what we did. And then we didn't have necessarily a spacing that we used. We just screwed them into studs. That way we knew they were secure. So our brackets aren't like spaced 2 feet apart or exactly a foot apart or anything like that. They're just where the studs are. We put the second shelf about a foot above the lower shelf, just to give us enough space to actually put things on the lower shelf. This didn't make it super high, but it did make it a little high. Chelsea's about 5'7", and she can take things off of the top shelf without standing on her tippy toes, although she probably would have to stand on her tippy toes if she had to reach the back of the top shelf. I do want to note that the easiest way to install the shelves we found was to install one bracket, then put the shelf on that one bracket, and then use a level to make sure that the other bracket was in the correct spot. If you just measured, I should say, from the countertop to the bottom of the bracket or to the bottom of the shelf or something, you're not going to get it exactly right, and your shelf's going to end up a little wonky. So this works the best for us. I do want to quickly mention a couple things. The first one is that our accent ceiling is not completely finished. We're going to get a 90-degree trim piece in the same hickory so it matches, and then put that over the edge. That way you have a nice clean edge. So that's going to be done. We'll probably show that in the concrete video. And then the second thing is with open shelves, you have to kind of be more conscious of how things look on them. Otherwise it will just look cramped and junky. So we got a bunch of glass jars and containers that we're going to put all of our foodstuffs in, which will make it look a little nicer and a little fancier. So you'll probably see those in the concrete video as well, because we left them in Phoenix. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Leave any questions down in the comments, and I think our next video is going to be hooking up to grid power. We ran into a couple of issues with that, so make sure you stay tuned to see how we got through those. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. That extension cord we used. Ow! I just screwed my hand behind it. That was so funny.